Well, hi everybody. How's your Monday going? Um, Spent most of the day today um, dealing with stuff for work in anticipation of my wife's surgery that's coming up in a couple weeks. Any prayers would be appreciated. Um, just some quick housekeeping things here. You can see we're live. As you can see, the title is live. You know what we're about to talk about. Um, If you didn't see it, I did a podcast with Mike the Rational Boomer. It's up on YouTube and Spotify. Check it out, boost it. Um, Tell me what you think. If you have anything you want to ask me about it, or you want to comment on anything we've said, you can reach me text me at my phone, which is 470-236-2304. Sorry, 2403. Again, 470-236-2403. Also, you can reach me. You can please join my Substack, Binder38 US Substack. I have a paid subscription service, $8 a month to support my work. Please join. I'm at 140. I'd like to get 150. Most of them, if you would be a paid subscriber, I would really appreciate it. Again, it helps me out my work, spend a little more time with you guys, as we're doing today. You can also find me here, TikTok. And then this one, I want to get to 1,000. We're almost there. And then, which is RJ12764. And you can email me at kumquat6@outlook.com. I'd love to hear from you via email. Well, hi guys. Well, wow. I again, whenever I do a podcast with Mike, and we do it on Sunday, it goes into Monday. So much stuff happens through the week, coming up to what's going to happen for the rest of the week. It's just all piling up really quickly. And why is it piling up? Also, if you're watching this live, share it, forward it, like it. That way it gets up into the For You stream, and we can attract a few more people and talk, get more people into the conversation. Again, I did not know. The reason everything's gone a little crazy, things that seems to be accelerating as we hear every day, is because Trump has painted himself in such a corner, it's not even funny. It's not only the war. It's going back to last year. What's the first thing he did last year? Tariffs. Okay? He got this idea about how trade balances work and trade deficits work, and figure he has no clue that way tariffs work. He thought tariffs would be paid by the country into the American Treasury. It doesn't work like that. We know that. I know that. We paid all the tariffs. And then it just decimated all trade, especially farmers. Quick note on the farmers, just so you know, guys. When he killed USAID, when Doge and all, remember them? Seems like forever, right? When they killed USAID, those guys who went in there to kill it thought it was only there to promote birth control and abortion in third world countries. They had no fracking idea how it worked. They had no idea that we were literally feeding starving people across the world. No damn idea. They thought they were saving the world, saving children, babies across the world from the evil Biden administration for promoting abortion. What they did was two things. One, starve children around the world that the United States always helped, and cut off farmers from a source of income that their grain and soybeans served. That's the thing. They didn't, again, the one thing we're going to see through this entire conversation and entire thing with Trump is that it is a literal incompetent set of people whose only requirement to be part of the Trump administration is they are loyal to Trump no matter what. Look who sits on the liquor cabinet. Whoever coined that, Kash Patel, Pete Heskett, Stephen Bassett, Howard Lutkin, that creepy little dude, the Commerce Secretary, not the Commerce Secretary, head of the Economic Council. All of them are incompetent boobs. And all they do through a cabinet meeting is literally kiss Trump's butt. Cabinet meetings aren't supposed to be public. Cabinet meetings are there to do business in behind closed doors, not in the open like that. And that's just Trump's ego needed to be fed. So that's the one thing I'm going to say about all this is that we're dealing with incompetency. That's why everything's just kind of piling on. That's why everything, that's like everything's just coming out left and right. People are saying stuff, doing stuff. Kash Patel is a drunkard being pulled out by a SWAT team because he doesn't want to do his job. Pete Heskett has turned into a freaking insane religious cultist. There's nothing different that comes out of Pete Heskett's mouth that comes out of a radical Islamic, radical rabbi, or radical Christian. They all sound the same. They're all the same. And basically to him, this is not a war. This is a holy war. And those people involved should be willing to sacrifice themselves for the good of country. Do you have proof he's a drunk? Yeah, the Atlantic. Oh, Daisy. Because here's the thing. Kash Patel may have sued the Atlantic for whatever, but it's going to be discovery. And the Atlantic, you don't mess with the Atlantic. The Atlantic, when they do a story, they proof it. So yeah, Kash is trying to protect himself. So yeah, he's a drunk. And the thing about it is, the FBI was known as the most feared and respected law enforcement agency in the world. Now it's a joke. Okay, now it's a joke. Total joke. And that story, I believe it. I totally believe it. Okay, and I kind of feel bad for him because it's real easy for incompetent people to, I got rid of Fishing Patriot. And no, Fishing Patriot, all these shit is wrong. Love Trump fucks when they come in here. And I don't deal with you. I'm not one of those guys and go, why do you still support MAGA? Come in. No, I don't do that. One, I don't need that. It gives me heartburn. And two, you saw some of the things they said. They're jokes. They're funny. They think they're smart. They're not. Everyone who's in here and sticking, those of you who follow me, you're really bright people. As one guy says on YouTube for his sports videos, you are exceptional humans. Because those of you give a shit and you care. And that's why you listen to me or Eric or Mike. And so when I see these people, I laugh. Because I do not engage them. I don't engage them. Because it's not worth my time. And it's not worth your time. Okay, we're here to have a discussion about what we're going to do about this shit we're in. They don't need to spew their shit on top of us. That's my opinion. I'm not going to do it. Do I really want you guys to help me reach my goals or support me? Yes, because that I think is important to keep going out there and give you what I believe is going to help us all. Also, it helps my mental state. As I told Mike once said 2 weeks ago, he says, "You always upset." I go, I'm like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. It's my secret. I'm always angry. Because we have to. And sometimes I don't think we get angry enough to deal with this shit. Because let's talk about the last 24 hours. Appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you. Yeah. And Mike makes it easy. And he lets me do my thing. A lot of hosts won't do that. And I think that's cool. Now, and again, if you're watching the live, share it. like it so we can get up in the FYP and talk to more people out there and bring us more in as we discuss what's going on. So we know this war has gone badly. We know that no matter what Donald Trump is saying now, he was talked into it by by Netanyahu, and Lindsey Graham, who turned out to be Mossad's little man, or little, what do they call it, useful idiot, and got Netanyahu into the Situation Room. And this is a great story, is that Netanyahu was telling him what Mossad had been feeding him. That, hey, if you bomb Iran, if you take out the leadership, the people will rise up and you will become a hero. And then we could take out Iran and blah, blah. The CIA said no. No, intelligence said no. CIA said no, don't do it. Marco Rubio said don't do it. J.D. Vance said don't do it. The military said don't do it. And Trump said, yeah, I'm good with that. Let's do it. Total disconnect. He is so focused on being something bigger than what he is. He wants to be a historical figure. So now he does this even though everyone who's not even a freaking expert in the Middle East or the military that what was going to happen. That picking on Iran is a dumb idea. That no one did it. And Netanyahu has been trying to sell this war for decades. He tried to sell it to every president. Hillary Clinton said that in all the years that she even tried it. He tried it on Bill Clinton when she was First Lady, tried it on the Bushes. The Bushes kind of did it with Iraq. You saw what happened there. And then he tried to push it on to, Bren, yeah, I'm going to talk about that. That was insane. You try to push that on Biden, and Biden said no. He even attacked, remember, Netanyahu at the end of after October 7th, the incident that started all this, good Lord, are we almost 4 years to that? 4 years, my Lord. That he bombed Iran, trying to force them to attack them and for Joe Biden to get sucked into this war. Biden's measured response was perfect. Because you remember, we knocked down all their missiles, we did a negotiated peace, and we're done. Because he knew it was idiotic. But only Trump would get involved in this thinking we'll wipe them all out. And how did he start this war? From Mar-a-Lago in the middle of the night. And here we are. And it's just ramped up to disaster. This is disaster. He picked a fight in an area where the world's economy basically goes. Those of you who are Dune fans, in my comments, and I get a lot of nerds, and thank you very much, because we rule the world, whether you like it or not. I keep thinking about the line in the Dune films, in the Dune books. The spice must flow. Oil must flow. Oil must flow. Okay, that's the thing. It's got to flow, because he basically, Trump has, I want to approve this comment because it's true. Trump has basically bankrupted the world by causing this fracas, because these guys still think that when you sell oil on a market, it's just American oil going to Americans. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's not true. Because the oil is is an open market. That is why Brent crude is over $100 a barrel again. $100 a barrel. Here we are. It is the absolute insanity of a man who thought he was smarter than the world, and he thought he can intimidate the Iranians into giving up, and it's all done. Again, warned that the Strait of Hormuz would be closed. He said they won't do that, they'll quit before. We're close to 40 days into this war. And do you know that the majority of those days, Congress has not been part of this? Ooh, $6.35 a gallon. That must be state taxes. Sorry about that, Boomer Bob. And it's starting to choke everyone off economically. But he doesn't care because he needs to win. He can't. Yeah, that's about right, Bob. Northern California from a SoCal boy. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, bro. Sorry about that, bro. So, what we're dealing with is a man who has no idea what to do. What we're dealing with is a cabinet so desperate to keep their phony baloney jobs that they're going to lie beyond any belief. They're going to lie about the economy. They're going to lie about oil prices. And when the energy secretary today said, yeah, gas prices may be over $3, $4 a gallon into next year, Trump got upset. Of course, the truth hurts. No one tells him the truth, except a couple of times recently. We know things are getting bad. We always knew the Trump administration or Trump regime's White House's leak. Even the first White House, we knew shit. And there's no difference here. So when the F-35 was shot down and the pilots, the rescue things went into the loading for the pilots, Trump absolutely lost his mind. He was screaming, yelling. He was losing his mind. He was getting in the way of the rescue because he was afraid he was going to look like Jimmy Carter when he tried to rescue the hostages in 1979. But that's a different cat because we didn't start a war. Okay? And he kept getting on the way to the point they were able to separate the toddler, put him in the corner, and feed him little bits to keep him calm. Okay? They can't tell him the truth. That's why they don't tell him the truth or tell him what's really going on and let him do his own thing. Someone made a comment, I think I talked about that with Mike last night, is that Republicans knew that linking themselves to Trump was a big risk. They were hoping to get through the midterms with Trump, rebuild everything, and then maybe slowly move him out for J.D. Vance, make J.D. the hero type of thing. But they couldn't control him. And it's hard to control something you fear. Literally, it's Victor Frankenstein. Literally, Victor Frankenstein created the monster with these great grandiose ideas. And then when he created it, he feared it and realized I made a mistake. Now they're stuck with him. Now they're the hardcores. That'll never change. But this is what we're at right now. Okay? This is where we're at right now. And so they don't know how to control him. That's why, excuse me, the majority of this war, there has been no Congress. Because Mike Johnson doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't want to deal with it. The Senate doesn't want to deal with it. And they keep trying to figure out a way to get around it. And now Trump, in his reasons to social, is blaming the Democrats because the war is going on and is not ending. I can't make this shit up. How do the Democrats have anything to do with this? Okay? How they're involved in this? How is this Joe Biden's fault? Again? Okay? And again, guys, remember to share it live, forward it, like it, so we can get it on the FYP, because we're going to talk about a couple of things in a minute that we really need to be concerned about. And then things we need to take courage in. Okay? Yeah, I know, Galfrey, he has no control, but he's got to blame someone else. Okay? So, as you can see, he's already starting cleaning house within the liquor cabinet. Kristi Noem went, okay, mostly because they knew about the affair. I think that's more the problem. ICE is starting to implode on itself. Pam Bondi went because she couldn't do what he wanted, was to make the Epstein thing vanish. It's not going to vanish. It's not. The next one online is Kash Patel. Look, Cash, this is the problem with incompetent folk. When they're incompetent, they think they can. What they do is that they don't walk into a situation, assess it, and learn how to leadership it. And if they have certain views for it, you change it slowly. No, incompetent folk who always look from the outside in to organizations go in there and say, "This is the way I'm going to do it now." And when stronger people try to make suggestions or help them, they get fired. Okay. Kash Patel did that with a lot of senior FBI directors. A lot of the directors in the regions are gone. FBI agents do not trust him. And so he feels the stress. He feels the stress. And that's another thing with incompetent people. They feel stress. And when they feel stress, they react to it, and how they react to it by being drunk. This is something this is a reaction to it. He literally can't handle the pressure. And it drives him, and it's making him crazier and crazier. And he has access to all this power, the jets, the money. Okay. And for him to go and sue the Atlantic, which has unbelievable resources and unbelievable journalistic powers or journalistic credits, all you got to see is what happened during the Olympics. Okay. He went to the hockey team, remember? He didn't just congratulate, he partied with him. He was drinking beer like that. That's not an FBI director. That's a frat boy. And this is what keeps continuing. And no, they didn't make that up, bro. That SWAT team, someone on that SWAT team laid you out because they don't want to drag your drunk ass out again. They're doing what they're supposed to do, but they hate you. Yes, Kash Patel's next on the list of being flushed out for two reasons. One, what we just talked about. Two, he's not doing what Trump wants, which is basically arrest everyone he hates. He's trying. Kash Patel apparently announced today that he has evidence that the 2020 election was stolen. He's got it. And he's going to show everybody. Dude, that is desperate. You're gone. And also, you're the only dark person in that freaking cabinet. You're gone. All right. Who he's going to replace, I don't know. It doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter anymore. I mean, the Senate is going to rubber stamp whoever, but he's got to go. As for Pete Hegseth, someone asks if he's next. I think so, and I don't know because, yes, I think he's getting to the course because his psychosis is not drinking, it's religious fanaticism. And he's getting into battles with the Secretary of Army, Driscoll, who is a Trump humper, but seems to have kind of a sense how the Pentagon works. He and Ben Hegseth have been going round and round about the promotion list that Hegseth cut people out of. And Hegseth fears him, so he's gone crazier. So my guess is, yeah, he'll be replaced, especially since the war is not going well, and Hegseth is basically not doing anything. They got into this war with no plan, no exit, no plan at all, and now it's just there. And also, I will say this, that this is a cover of what the Israelis are doing. I want you to look up, because I know we can't talk about, look about what the IDF is doing in southern Lebanon. Look what they did to that statue of Jesus, which they confirmed was not fake. Okay, look what they're doing to children in Lebanon. Okay, this is what's going on. And that's part of the problem. We're allied with basically a country has become their worst. They have become those who made them, if you know what I mean. Okay, I know you guys are smart enough to put two and two together on that. So Donald Trump is a desperate man. A desperate man with dementia, a desperate man who doesn't believe the world works in a certain way. One of the reasons that he put out that picture of him being Jesus is that he really believes he's divine. He truly believes he is sent. He's been told enough by all the people, all the evangelicals that work in that office, that he's divine, that he is God's messenger on this planet, and that what he's doing is blessed. We all know that's a lie. That's why the Pope kind of called him out on it. But the Pope didn't call him out on that. Pope just basically did his thing. And Pope Leo didn't want anything to do with that. Just did his message, but he pressed it. And Pope Leo is basically jumping on him now. I am an ex-Catholic, has gone through Catholic school. It doesn't leave you, okay? But I'll tell you one thing. Leo the 14th is a man from Chicago, the south side of Chicago. And he may be the Holy See, he may be the pious, but he knows he ain't backing away from a fight. And it's not working for him. Sorry, only his sycophants are attacking the Pope. Johnson, Hesketh. By the way, J.D. Vance, you don't know a God blessed thing about theology. I know more theology than you do. Okay? Straight up. We all know that. Most of my guests, most of the people in this live know more about theology than you do. So it's just embarrassing. So that didn't work. Okay? So Trump is trying to get back to negotiation tables. And what did they do? He announces, because the only thing that matters to him in the stock market, quick note on the stock market, okay, guys? Hedge fund people, all those folks know the economy's screwed up. They know that everything they're telling them is smoke and mirrors. They know what the job reports are. They know what the economic ramifications of what's going on in the Middle East. They know there's no growth. They know there's going to be desperation. They know prices are up. Okay? But they need investors. So they're not telling their investors it's not a good idea to invest. Hold on to your assets. That's what a true financial manager would be saying right now. Hold on to your solid assets. Cash, I'd hold as much as you can, not in Bitcoin. Okay? I would hold on to it, because if you get involved and everything falls apart, you're going to lose it. Okay? That is a problem. So, but they're not telling their clients that because they need to get paid. So Trump manipulating the stock market with his announcements. The Strait is open. Oil's coming through. Gas prices are going to... It causes those fluctuations that a few people know what to do, and they're making money right now. Now, clearly, that's not going to last. Clearly, that's going to blow up. Remember, Trump has lived his life as a fucking Ponzi scheme. He has taken from others and stiffed everyone else. And we're it too. Now, he sold us this. Remember, he ran for president not to win, but to boost his fucking presence, his image, to make money. But once he got involved, he knew he can make a lot more money in the government, outside the government. Damn, he's trying to take $10 billion out of the fucking treasury right now because because someone let loose his taxes. That's insane. But the Congress has given him a carte blanche. The Republican Party has let him do whatever he wants. And what do? They keep blaming Democrats. Sorry, guys, not working. No one's buying your shit now. No one's buying it. No one. And so, what does he do? He keeps doubling down, tripling down. He thinks it's going to work. He wants to be a tough guy, so he threatens to blow up the civilization that is Iran or Persia. Those of you who have done world history know that's the Fertile Crescent. One of the first places that civilization started the Tigris and Euphrates, that whole area, along with Egypt. And so, he says things like that, and he said that so maybe he acts crazy, people will come to the negotiation table and fear him. No, dude, that's not how you negotiate. You do that for a contractor that you're stiffing and want to sue and not pay them, but it's not how you do negotiations around the world. Shit like that does not work. And he's finding it out. Because the Iranians are going, we control it. And they're hardcore too. Those people are religious, the leadership is religious hardcore, and they do not like what was done to them. And with Israel on part of it, no. So, it's not working out. So what's he do? He blockades. Why? That makes no sense. We're going to seize the oil tankers and commercial ships in Iran, and we're going to keep the oil. And take it where? Can't take it to the Gulf Coast states. They've been hammered by the war. They're not going to keep the oil. Now you have, you took a commercial ship. What's going to happen? Eventually, the Iranians may say screw it and drop a drone on it and kill Marines. The point is, it's just dumb stuff. Just dumb stuff that comes out of him because he's desperate. And so, as a lot of the stuff was coming in ahead on Friday and Saturday nights, as the negotiations were breaking down, things weren't working out, they had an emergency meeting in the White House. And this is a point I'm going to ask you guys again to share this live. Like it. I want people to hear these words because it's very, very important they hear what's I'm about to say. So, please do that. Emergency meeting. And this is coming from a gentleman called Larry Johnson, who was on a podcast today, has hit all the social media points. Former CIA agent, so there's leaks, connections. That in that meeting, Trump was so frustrated with what's going on, he decided, I want to use the nuclear codes. Take a deep breath. He wasn't kidding. He wanted to use the nuclear codes. He wanted to show them who's boss. Now, there's already been rumblings that from Pakistan, that is the Israeli, that if the Iranians we use a tactical nuclear strike on Iran, they're going to do a tactical nuclear strike on Israel, which would probably lit off the India, who would love to get a hold of Kashmir and just watch the nuclear dominoes fall. And Trump can be the smartest man on the cinder. And it was the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Dean Kane said, no, I am not going along with that, because even though he's the president and has the codes, they still have to be checked off. It has to be agreed to. And they checked him, and the joints, and they got into a shouting match. Remember, at the end of the first Trump administration, after he lost, he wanted to pull out of Afghanistan right that next day. But Mark Esper, the Department of Defense, and the most of the Defense Department fought him on it and kept dragging their feet. Remember, Mark Milley had to call the Chinese because he was making saying crazy stuff about the Chinese, about everything. And so he had to call the Chinese and tell them, no, he's not serious. No, he's not going to attack you. No. Everyone calm down. And he found out about that and got mad at Milley. Milley said, no, I had to do my job. That's why, remember, Mark Milley's a marked man by these people, because it made, they consider that treason. No, treason is going along with it. Protecting the Constitution of the United States is not. That's the one thing a lot of these guys keep forgetting. They have a right, they are loyal to the Constitution, not to Trump. Republicans forget that too, that they should be loyal to the Constitution, not Trump. Always remember this, here in Georgia, we have an election going on. Okay. Those of you in the live, Tell me if you've heard of the man John Ossoff. I haven't seen him speak because I voted for that man 6 years ago, close to 6 years ago. John Ossoff is an incredible orator and senator. John Ossoff, in his first election, made David Perdue run. Look up John Ossoff, an empty podium. Now, during that election, David Perdue did not want to debate John Ossoff because Ossoff ate him alive the first time and he didn't want to face it. So Ossoff did a debate on an empty podium. Now, it went to a runoff because Republicans will be Republicans. But in that election of 2020, Trump was so frustrated with everything, he told people not to show up for the special election. That's how John Ossoff won that seat for the next 6 years. And now he is on a tear. I've seen his last two speeches about Trump and the Trump administration. And Republicans thought in Georgia there was going to be, yeah, we can get him. We'll get him. We'll get him this time. People are tired of him. Yeah. All these guys running for Senate, including the one Mike Collins, who is a MAGA congressman who has gotten Trump's blessing, are all saying that they're going to service Trump. That their biggest asset, and that includes those running for governor of Georgia, their biggest asset is Trump. That Trump loves me. Trump's everything to us. Trump's going to make it all better. Trust us and Trump. The person who, Clay Tucker, the one who replaced Marjorie Taylor Greene during the special election, who won, but Sean Green, his opponent, gained 20 points from the last time that Marjorie Taylor Greene beat him, said that I'm going there to be a loyal servant to Donald Trump. See, Republicans don't give a fuck about their constituents. They care about serving Trump. And that's all they're offering the people here of Georgia. Okay? Meanwhile, John Ossoff is just killing it with his oration. And we got lucky because we got John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Because unlike our neighbors to the south and our neighbors to the north and our neighbors to the west, we care about our state. And we will elect who's best for Georgians in Georgia. I live near Atlanta, and we are ready. Okay, I don't know about the governorship. I think I'm going to vote for the former mayor, for primary, the former mayor of Atlanta. I'm not going to vote for Burt Jones because he's a former lieutenant governor whose only good point was that he fought Trump during the 2020 election with 11,000 votes. But he is a culture warrior, and I ain't touching him. Okay? We got enough bullshit here to deal with Republicans running around being stupid and opening AI places where they shouldn't, AI data centers, or, in social Georgia, setting up freaking ICE detention centers. Although I will give the people credit in social Georgia, social city Georgia, social city Georgia. It's Xavier Becerra, Boomer. Xavier Becerra was the former Attorney General of California after Kamala Harris and fought Trump to the bitter end. He is smart. He cares about Californians. He is the man for everyone. Now that Eric Swalwell has been exposed as the scumbag that he is. And to those Republicans who think that gives you an upper hand, we know who you are. Stop it. Okay? Yeah, it was shocking to everyone, but you know what? The most shocking part of all that is that everyone in Congress knew it. A lot of people in Congress knew it. That means Chuck Schumer knew it. King Jeffries knew it. That means a lot of that leadership knew that he was a scumbag, but didn't want to either put themselves on the spot to call him out, or thought it was, nudge, nudge, you know what I mean. Either way, it's disgusting. All right. Power, as they all say, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Apparently, that's Congress. As I said with Mike last night, the hardest thing about this is that it just aggravates to the point you want to just burn it all down, but you can't burn it all down because you don't know what to replace it with. So right now we have to, like eating an elephant one piece at a time. And the first thing we have to do is get rid of the Republican Party and that influence. And then we can work on the inside there. Because once we reestablish the Republican, true justice in this country, once we reestablish the rule of law and the Constitution, then we can start working on those people who think they can use power for their own needs and their own self aggravation. Okay, it's not going to be easy, guys, and we have to keep an eye on the ball because the problem, what we need to do is make sure we offer people something different than Republicans or something different than Democrats have done before. And I talked about this and with Mike on the podcast, which is up today, as I said. Chris Van Hollen, the Democratic senator of Maryland, was talking about. Now, Warren, one thing I'm going to say this: Californians' choices on the other side, that Riverside County sheriff and the other guy, I don't think, even if they had split the vote, they were going to get close. Especially because the Riverside County sheriff, first of all, he stole ballots. Do you remember that? Illegally. And he's saying, I'm the sheriff, I can do whatever I want. Secondly, there are some pretty serious allegations of abuse in his jails. And we're talking really bad abuse in the jails that he's running. Look it up. I can't say what it is because I know what's going to happen if I do, but look it up. So there's too much baggage with these guys. And from someone who lived in California through the 90s, who watched California go from Pete Wilson to what it was now, I remember Prop 187. No, Californians are a lot of things, but good Lord, they ain't dumb. Even the Central Valley Californians are not dumb. That dumb. Okay? So, no. But that being the point, get out and vote. And choose someone that's going to lead you forward, because it's going to be a tough fight for the next few years, especially with the Trump regime, and his dying breaths at this point. So, yeah, there's a lot of crooked shit and blind. Yeah, he is a bad man. He's a bad person. I mean, he's not even a bad politician. That is a bad man. Okay, he is not tough. He is bad. Just so you know. Okay. Which brings us back to what's going on in Congress is that we have to eat this one piece at a time and basically get rid of put out the fire and then through the smoldering, start rebuilding justice and going and rebuilding this country a piece at a time. It's not going to be easy. It took Trump 2 years to crush everything, allies and everything around the world. So it's a hard fight because not only do we have to fight the far right, things that they're going to do possibly, to try to change the election, but they can't. Yeah, you can try all you want about banning mail ballots through executive order. Ain't happening, brother. Not happening. Okay. Don't fear tactic us. And they're just going to get a big surprise. And one fear tactic thing I'm going to get back to what Chris Van Allen said. The thing about it too is that the message has to be different. And he was talking about that he noticed that when Trump talked about no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on, I forgot what the other thing was, overtime. People said, yeah, that sounds good. Because from a working man's standpoint, yeah, that sounds good. Now, as for no tax on tips, great. Also give them a minimum wage. Fucking hate that. that knowing that a waitress or waitresses who make a living only on tips, unless you work in a really good New York restaurant, you're working for peanuts. Okay? It's stupid. At least if you're going to have a minimum wage, give them the $7.25, then the tips. Fucking never understood that. Never get that. Never will understand that. All right. And all you're benefiting is the restaurant owner, and they work for like an Olive Garden or Red Lobster, a corporate restaurant owner. It's fucking bullshit. Okay. So when you tip somebody, you're actually helping them live. And those of you who don't tip or are assholes about it, you're just who you are. But he was just saying that instead of looking at economics from the way they normally do, and like charts and relationships and infrastructure, and if we do this, it'll affect that. Yeah, that's part of economics. But what you need to do is give people something they can relate to now, something that the working people can relate to now. Okay, something that they can understand. Okay. And what he was talking about is time to look at if people make less than $80,000 a year, no federal tax. No federal tax. None. You don't get taxed till after $80,000 a year. All right. Now you're going to keep your Medicare and your Social Security taxes. You have to, because those have to be part fed and maintained in the system. But that gives people more spending money. Well, how do you offset that? Easy. Raise the tax on the rich, so they pay an even share. Doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much to replace that. And then in the article, now, if you're looking to reason what I'm talking about, go into, if you have the New York Times, look for Democrats and tax cuts, and the story's in there, and it's really fascinating read, because you get the old apparatchiks from the Biden administration or Obama administration saying, can't do that. Can't do that, which makes me laugh because I remember when the Obama brought and Biden brought the country out of that first the Great Recession. Do you remember? You know, in order to get the car industry coming out, they give you money for your junk car. I worked in a dealership there. That was a lot of money they handed out. They did a lot of that stuff, and it affected the deficit. Yeah, but we had to get up out of the thing, get up out of what was going on, and now they're saying, well, that'll affect the deficit. Who gives a fuck? The deficit's being added to every day. Every day this war's going on, we're spending $1 billion we don't have, and they're going to ask for $1 trillion defense budget. They're not going to ask for $200 billion more to fund this war. $200 billion. That could be used for people Medicare or Medicaid, who are older people are getting tossed out of nursing homes in Ohio right now or around the country, or people who saw their ACA go up because you guys didn't want to do the subsidies, which would be 1/3, 1/8 of what you spent on that war in the last 40 days. 1/8. You see how this works? So when we talk about the middle class or the working staff, giving them something back, all of a sudden it's a bad thing. Or universal health care. Oh, we can't do that. That's too expensive. Really? But we can give the rich more tax cuts when they already have enough money. We can let corporations buy stock instead of what they did before 1980. You couldn't buy your own stock back. 1980, who was president that next year? Oh, Ronald Reagan. So instead of concentrating on your stakeholders, which I learned in business, which is your workers, your customers, your shareholders are part of it, and the company itself, and the environment and cities you live in, you only concentrate on the shareholders to make the money. And the CEOs make more money because they get stock options. And that money, instead of being reinvested in the country, in the company, or what they used to call profit sharing, and share with your workers so they stay with you and feel emboldened and they don't set warehouses on fire. Okay? No, that's a bad thing. So read the article. Chris Van Allen's got a good idea. And the problem is a lot of these Democrats are corporate Democrats and they're afraid to get off the teat, the corporate teat. They're so afraid of it and they shouldn't be. And as Danny Blue says down here, yes, stop giving Israel money. Just on general principle alone right now. What the IDF is doing, what they're doing in Lebanon, how we're being used by them to do horrible things to people that don't deserve to be horrible things done to. Yeah, I know about Hezbollah, I know about Hamas, but no. Attacking children because you can is not part of the deal. Okay? Look up a story about the IDF killing children, and you know what I mean. Okay? So, I mean, that's the thing with the political thing. It's not just getting rid of Republicans, but it's to make sure we come up with that, everyone comes up with a plan, or we push them for a plan that doesn't put us right back to the same thing. Because even though we may get rid of MAGA or may get rid of Republicans, the Republicans know that they can't govern, but when people govern and sometimes have to make hard choices, people don't understand it. Going back to the Biden administration, the economy was humming. The problem was affordability was not. That was a fact. But now we have no economy and no affordability because you guys got sucked in by a con man and people really don't understand how things work. Not your fault. It's fucking complicated. It's a lot. Okay? And the problem with Democrats have been they always talk techno speak or try to make excuses. They try to explain it, and every time you try to explain something that big, it sounds like an excuse. Okay? As opposed to, Trump's, I'll put 2 chickens in every pot, car in every garage. Might not be true, but you see what I'm saying? That's what it is. So give us something that people can latch onto. Medicare for all. Or we're going to fund the ACA again and then build to Medicare for all. Okay, we are going to give a tax cuts, let the middle class for the next few years not pay federal income tax. See what happens. Let's rebuild all this. The upper echelon will pay their fair share, and also we're going to take away the ability for corporations to buy their own stock, make them reinvest in their own companies. Well, they'll just leave. No, they won't. They're liars because they need us. They say that, but they need us. And that's what they're starting to find out. Okay. I mentioned the burning, the incidents against warehouses, businesses, the Molotov cocktail thrown at that one AI chairman's house. Some billionaires and some millionaires are starting to realize if you don't control this, we're going to be next on the list. Okay. Little by little, when you give people nothing to lose, then they don't care. Someone keeps saying violence isn't the answer. No, violence isn't the answer until it becomes the only answer because no one's listening to you. Okay. Which brings me up to something that I saw, and someone had sent me some videos about it, that apparently Homeland Security, pitchfork and torches, exactly. They're doing it slowly. Don't want to do it peacefully. But some people have reached a breaking point, and that's making them nervous. You don't see it in the mass media, but people feel it and smell it. They know it's coming. But it's going to be they're starting to realize it, where billionaires some of them are starting talking about universal basic, living wage, maybe sharing the wealth. They're beginning to realize that their business model is toxic, and keep it up, you won't have a business model. That's the thing. Who are you going to sell to? Okay. The last time I checked, serfdom doesn't really work. Okay. From an economic standpoint, because we're still going to be a capitalist system. Okay. There were promises made when we were younger. We could get a job and live off that job forever. The company would take care of us. Those were promises made, but never kept. There were promises that our society would get better, that we would care about one another, we would reach out better, we become technologically not only better, but better to each other. That's why people drift toward the dream of Star Trek, because that's a world that solved its problems and we can move up and beyond that. It's amazing, right? Those are promises made, but we fell back. Fell back on our own greed. We fell back on our own fears because we don't understand it. You know, the greatest thing I saw in this last few weeks was the reaction to the Artemis launch, the Artemis mission, Artemis 2. Um, because I was interested because I'm a kid from the space race days. I mean, I watched it all. Saw man land on the moon. Yes, flat earthers. I saw a man land on the moon. Okay, stop it. Those videos are hilarious. Okay, trying to throw away that. And I really, 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 really thought, you know, when this happened, I really think it was going to be this big deal. But all of a sudden, people were everywhere watching the launch. Kids were watching the launch with space helmets. We're talking some 1950s shit here, okay, 1960s shit here. Excited to going back in space. Now, we have been putting things in orbit through SpaceX and, I guess, Bezos' company, but it wasn't for them. We did it. NASA did it, which is us, the United States. No, Trump, you had nothing to do with it. Shut up. We did it. And they did it on a small budget. And people were saying, well, the technology hasn't advanced. It's better technology than what it was. And trying to get a ship out of the orbit is still a bitch. Okay? But it was a wonderful thing to watch. And what really made me feel good was to watch other people get excited as I was as a kid. I remember an interview they talked to this kid. He must be 10 or 11 years old. He's got a GoPro on his head. He's in Orlando. I'm sorry, Cape Canaveral, waiting for the launch on the Space Coast. And this reporter's going, why are you so excited? You're only 10. Kid goes, because we're going back to the fracking moon. It's there. It's still there. The desire to be more than what we see. The desire to be more than just red, blue, MAGA, not MAGA. It's there. It doesn't take much. And that scares the piss out of the very rich because it doesn't take much if we latch on to something. It doesn't take much for all to come together. That scares the hell out of them. Dear God Almighty, that scares them to death. And the ideas of, you know, the things that are going on for the reaction to it with the burnings and all that is just a symptom of the disease that they're not seeing. So again, I have hope. And the other thing I want to bring up before I bring this to an end, and again, thank you for coming on this Monday, on a day that seems totally crazy. Again, I did a podcast with Mike, the Rational Boomer. See it on Spotify and YouTube at Binder38 US. You can follow me there, and I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Someone sent me a video about Homeland Security putting out some kind of task force called the Homeland Security Task Force. Its job is another law enforcement agency tied to Homeland Security with their own set of rules, their own due process, attacking crime, something about DEI. I saw the whole thing, read about it a little bit, and that they can basically supersede local law enforcement if they go in there looking for something or somebody, and law enforcement gets in the way, they can arrest them. And some of the videos I saw, one video especially, the one that a couple of you guys sent to me, was really doomsaying. They're saying, this is it. This is how they do it. This is how they make us capitulate. This is how they do it. Okay. Well, let me make this clear. Okay. They don't have enough bodies to do something like that. Remember, the United States is fucking huge. It's huge. We're big. Okay? You're telling me that this task force is going to basically make the entire country submit to whatever they want for a few arrests? All you got to look at is what happened in Minnesota. Okay? I saw a video in Minnesota. They're still coming, still ICE is still there and their facility's still there. People are still throwing rubber things at the ICE facility. Minnesotans who should have been, I think ICE thought it was going to be slim, easy pickings to get their agenda done, stood up and said, hell no, peacefully, at the expense of Renee Good and Alex Peretti. May God rest their soul and raise them to glory. But they fought him peacefully to the point that, let's face it, they left. They may be doing stuff, but they're not doing what they're doing because they found out that was a lot of pressure. And then they said, let's go to Vermont. They'll be fine. No, they found the same thing in Vermont. They're finding the same things in every city they show up in. Okay? So you're going to tell me that this task force is going to pop out of nowhere, start doing this shit, and think the American people are going to go, oh yeah, we quit. No. Yeah, and I understand national TV, Boomer Bob, but I'll tell you one thing. It won't matter. Because people with the social media and the independent media will suss it out. They didn't cover Vermont. That came through the media. That came through independent media. All right? The point I'm saying is, do you really think, guys, honestly, watching what happened in Minnesota, that if they come out like hardcore and thinking we're going to take on everyone and they're going to have to step out of the way, even law enforcement, that Americans are going to capitulate? Well, they'll just turn violent. Then it's on. There are more weapons in this country than people. As I said in my video on this, come get some. I mean, people are saying, oh, I've been waiting for this. Come on. I mean, let's be honest. How many times did ICE go into gang areas? Really hardcore city areas. Chicago, Los Angeles. They didn't. A couple times they touched it, they got fucking spanked and ran. Do you think a few of these people are going to do it? And where they're going to get the military assets? What military assets? Okay? We barely have enough to perpetuate this fake war that Trump created for all of us. You think we're going to do this on a domestic scale? No. No. And, well, then they'll just try to stop elections. They can't stop the elections. They'll make our life miserable. They're going to make it harder to vote. We just have to adjust to whatever they do. The biggest example, Hungary. Viktor Orban tried everything he could to stop that election or to push the election his way. And he lost by 2/3 of the vote. Too big to rig. And now they are basically exactly triggered. They can't stop it. They are too big. That election's too big, and now they're cleaning house, which we will do once we get back in power. Because I swear to Almighty God, not going through the Merrick Garland bullshit again. We don't want resolution with you guys. We want retribution and justice. I'm sorry, truth. I might be, you're being, well, Will, you're being nasty. No, you guys set this up. You guys help vote. And I'm talking about the far lefters who are coming back out of the woodwork, trying to blame Joe Biden for what's going on is in Palestine and in Lebanon. Okay, you folk too. You Jill Stein ass kissing people. I haven't forgotten you. And every triple trumper. Don't come looking for sympathy. What you need to do is basically erase your existence of knowing and voting for Trump. Keep your mouth shut, like a lot of the generation did after the fall of Germany, after that fall of that government. They stayed quiet because they knew they were wrong and let their generation pass. Because there is going to be no forgiveness. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Look at what we're dealing with right now. And we came this close to a madman decided to let loose nuclear weapons in Iran. This close. And is your last words going to be, as everything rains down on us, I didn't vote for this? Is that going to make us feel better? See my point? Sorry, guys. I might be the one pointing out that that fish stinks in the room, but it's the truth. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. So I just want to bring that up because a lot of this that goes on can really, really fuck with you. You just want to say, fuck this. I've had it. But I will tell you, this is all desperate. All he's saying is desperate. The labor secretary quitting, desperation. Kash Patel drinking himself into a stupor, desperation. Pete Hegseth running around like some kind of whack preacher, desperate. Okay, they know they're on the ropes. Congress not doing anything but a resolution honoring Chuck Norris and then going home for the day. They don't care. And we know they don't care. That's why every time there's a special election, they get whacked. All right, don't bring up the 14th in Georgia because there was a 20-point shift to the blue. Okay, so what I'll tell you as the last thing, as I'm bringing this to a close, is that do not let them tell you and let people go on here and going, oh my God, it's over because A, B, D, C. One, Trump is incompetent and he's sundowning. Two, who's going to run it? Who's going to be in charge of it? Who incompetent ass is going to be in charge of it? Okay. And three, the American people are not geared to surrender. Okay. Even in the book, The Handmaid's Tale, there were still parts of America fighting Gilead. See my point? We do not surrender. We make it hard for everyone else. Now, right now, our reputation in the world is shot. It's shot. It's going to take a while to get it rebuilt. But we have to take care of business at home. But I would tell you right now, that starts every day that we call out as bullshit. Every day you listen to me or Mike or, all the other creators or Aaron Parnas, you go there and you listen to and you understand. Where you read some of the media and pick through it, understanding that they're lying to you or they're trying to hide something. I want you guys, it's not easy because it's going to be hard. You have the throes of a really big serpent. And when a serpent dies, it throws a lot of it, and things get hurt. And we're going to have to work through that. And it's not going to be easy. But here's the thing. We have it down. We're stepping on its neck. And we have an opportunity in November to start ending this. Okay? And it's not going to be easy. And we're going to have to fight amongst ourselves a little bit. But understand, the one eye on the prize is to get back control of Congress and get back control of the rule of law. Okay? Because Trump is not a god and he's not a king. He is not divine. He is not holy. He is like any other evangelical con man from the 30s in a big tent. He has sold you a bill of goods. And you people and people bought it because it's easy to be sold a bill of goods. But when the results and when you see that person taken from you and not giving, and you ask for help and they say no, that's what you're seeing right now. That's what's happening right now. And that's what's happening to him and the Republican Party. And to an extent, religion too. And I want to talk about mega churches sometime later on because they are going to pay a price for this too. Because I will tell you one thing I'll give what Trump has done is to make a lot of people reflect on their own Christianity and their own religions. And what are they telling us? What are they telling us? Because it's not coming out in what is done out there. Okay? Never forget that. Okay? And I keep saying this every time, and I know it's not easy. Trust me. You know, I take a little antidepressant once a night because I get it. But do not give in to your fears. Understand that they fear us. They have put themselves up like this. And I think Boomer Bob said very well. He has done more to make us more involved in politics the right way. We see all the politicians like RJ saying, throwing money, a mask of Benjamin Netanyahu throwing money at Cory Booker to remind him, we know where your money comes from, bro. Same thing with Chuck Schumer. Same thing with Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, we're going to take back our country from the disease that is MAGA and Trump and the Republican Party. We're literally going to flush it clean and rebuild our Constitution the way it was meant to be. Where everyone's equal, where everyone has a chance, where we have an economy that takes care of everybody, that people don't have to worry about if they can see a doctor or get something to eat. All right? That's the thing. Where children will feel safe, where everyone will be judged on the context of their character and not the color of their skin or where they came from. And the day that Stephen Miller is arrested and taken away in handcuffs for war crimes is going to be the greatest day on this planet. Okay. Thank you for listening. I know it's been a little while. Appreciate you very much. Those of you who follow me, thank you. Continue to do so. If you want to follow me here, TikTok, RJ12764. Again, like to get to 1,000 before the month's out. You can follow me on Binder38US at Substack. That's where I get, if you want to support my work, you can do a paid subscription. I'm at 140. I'd love to get to 150, those last 10 being paid subscriptions. That's going to help me quite a bit as I take a little bit of time of work to deal with with our issues here medically. Yes, thank you for the kind words about my wife. She'll get through it, and we will persevere. You can follow me on Binder38US at YouTube. I'm at 350. I'd love to get to 500 before the end of May. Again, to build for everyone to see what we can do as a force of people. If you have any questions about this live or you want me to cover anything else, you can message me at 470-236-2403. And if you want to do email, it's KUMQUAT, the number 6, kumquat6 at outlook.com. Everybody, thank you very much for following. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for any gifts. I look forward to doing this again as long as they let me do it. But you guys take care. Take care of your families. And always remember, there are more of us than there is of them. Be safe.